on our roll call here. We know everybody who's here. On our roll call here. We know everybody who's here. The reason we're all coming together tonight, we are putting together a peaceful organization. We are not trying to start any militias. We are not trying to start any riots or anything like that. We are all coming together tonight to brainstorm about some ideas, what our directors and us can take to the streets and get people involved in saving our freedoms, to put it that way. But I did want to reiterate that to anybody who is watching this. We are doing this 100% peacefully. We have no intention of anything in the way of violence being administered by this organization whatsoever. Should anybody try to do that in our name, we disavow them 100%. They have nothing to do with us because that is not what we are about. Okay, that being said, folks, I guess the first order of business is to come up with an organization name. We've had some ideas thrown out, and the last one that I heard was Our Freedom First. Did anybody who's joined since got any other ideas that they wanted to throw out there for the gang?
The Gathering, I think, sounds pretty damn cool myself.
I'd agree.
Yeah. Okay.
How about a hybrid name calling it something like the Freedom Gathering? Hey, there you go. Sounds good.
Okay, Mr. Prepper Nerd, you're the one who can tell us if we can get that domain name.
I'm looking it up right now. So freedomgathering.com is taken. Freedomgathering.net and .org are available.
If anything, my suggestion would be .org, considering we're an organization. Would we all?
What about the Freedom Gathering?
The .com for that is also taken.
It is? Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, .com is typically going to be the thing people default to and will be easiest to find.
Right.
Yeah.
So what is since it's already taken, what does that website represent?
It could be anything. It just, the fact is it's reserved. It may not even be in use.
Oh, okay, I got you. I didn't know if it was some other kind of website, so we don't sit there and get two ideologies just for the .com and a .org.
Right.
Right.
Looking it up.
Yeah, so another variation on freedomgathering.com would be freedom-gathering.com, which is available.
Dash is always a complicated thing. You got to keep in mind, if everyone's like us, tech savvy, you want to keep it as simple as possible.
I agree.
Got to keep it simple.
And I think,
all right, guys, I looked up freedomgathering.com. It's actually a church.
All right.
I think
in other words, they're closed right now.
unless the pastor gets up there and takes off his tie.
Yep.
Oh, Lordy.
how about the Liberty Coalition?
I like that.
I like that too.
I do too.
Yeah. Mr. Prepper Nerd, you're...
Yeah, I'm looking it up. Liberty Coalition.
I guess it's taken to.
Yeah, .com is taken. I can try the at the beginning.
You could just change the word liberty with freedom, make it Freedom Coalition.
Yeah, libertycoalition.com is taken. Freedom Coalition.
Freedom Coalition does not come up with the website.
It is taken.
Wow.
Yeah, everyone
and
owns
.org,
everything.
and .org is taken. Yeah.
How about
Um,
the Freedom Coalition?
Yeah, that's next. TheFreedomCoalition.com is taken, but .org and .net are available.
What about our Freedom Coalition?
OurFreedomCoalition.com is available.
Too much, guys?
Too long, I think, personally.
Say again, Jason?
I think it's too long.
Okay.
Keep it simple. Did you say Freedom Gathering was available? .org?
.org, yeah.
Yeah.
I think more.
I think if we start putting words like "our" into it, it gets into that exclusive kind of impression when people hear it. You know, it's like an exclusive term. It's not everyone's. It's ours. And I think that may be taken the wrong way.
Agreed.
If I could throw out an idea, if we continue on with the meeting and what we're talking about and kind of getting our ideas and all that kind of stuff put down, it might give us a better idea of what we should call it.
What about freedom for everyone?
Ooh, that's good.
Freedoms for everyone.
Does that include liberals?
Good point.
Even though they really don't want it, you know.
I'm looking it up. FreedomForEveryone.com is taken.
How about freedom for all?
Yeah, I was just going to look up Freedom for All because that sounds familiar to me.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think even with the number 4, that's taken.
FreedomForAll.com is taken.
FreedomForAll.org.
How about liberty for all?
How about, hey, check out Cleanup on aisle 1776.
Oh my God.
That would be badass. Come on, guys. Come on.
I love it.
That would be hilarious.
If you guys don't use it, I'm taking it. Patent pending.
Yeah, that one's available.
Perfect.
What about Patriot Coalition?
I'll check it.
Well, the liberals hate that.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I think, again, people latch onto that and make that a negative thing.
Well, listen,
Something like Freedom
that-
Gathering can't be spun the wrong way, really, you know?
I think anything we pick is going to have a negative connotation to those who are anti-freedom.
Agreed.
Yeah, this is true.
You could just call it Americans.
Pepper
Gathering.
now, yeah.
Yeah.
Finally make
Ed
it.
has ended his live stream.
PatriotCoalition.com is taken. So yeah, in terms of ones that are available and ones that I think people had a positive response to, we had Freedom Gathering, freedomgathering.org, and ourfreedomcoalition.com, but we thought that was too long.
What about just initials of whatever?
In my experience, if you have just initials, most of those have already been reserved, and people are trying to sell them.
What if we just indoctrinate all you guys to the rsyndicate.com? We're already set up over there. I'm not pushing my thing or anything, but kind of rolls off the tongue.
Yeah, there's an extreme vetting process, though.
Is Americans Gathering taken?
Well, we kind of want to make this international, though, too.
You want to make it international?
Yeah, because we've all got a bunch of Canadian subscribers and a lot of Australian subscribers that, they all want to be part of this too.
Yes.
We gotta
A
make
lot of those
America
countries
first.
go back on the ideology of America.
Well,
Well, yeah, but I mean,
There you go. We can call it our New World Order.
Yeah, I don't know about that. How about the old world order?
I don't know. I think Freedom Gathering, if we can get the .org, it's a fairly straightforward and simple thing, and there's not a lot that people can spin on that. And when you hear, oh, there's a Freedom Gathering, I like that.
Yeah, when you put it that way, yeah, because then it's a call to togetherness. And I mean, okay, fine, freedomgathering.com is a church, but where they're out of, for all we know, it's Bradenton, Florida. Mike, you tell me this: we wouldn't have any issues with all of a sudden them saying, "Well, that's our name" or whatever, because we've got it. Like you saw that whole thing with Lady Antebellum and stuff like that. We wouldn't have any issues with it was the same name, just a different extension on it, would we?
I mean, obviously from a technical perspective, no, but I mean, even from a legal perspective, I mean, it's a fundamentally different type of organization. So I would think not, but that's not an area where I'm an expert.
Yeah, I'm not asking to be an internet lawyer or anything like that.
We're not trying to call it something like Disney or McDonald's gathering. So, I mean, I don't think we'll have a big pushback from a small church like that.
Yeah, okay. That's why we spitball ideas. All right. All in favor of freedomgathering.org, say aye.
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 All opposed, say nay. The ayes have it. We are officially freedomgathering.org.
All right.
I like it.
All right, Mishka, you got your marching orders on getting us a domain name. So you know which one we're going after. All right, and then next order of business, guys, now that we have a domain name, what all do you want to see on the webpage? My thoughts are, at least we need to put the mission statement, kind of somehow written of what I said at the beginning, what we are, and my thoughts. You guys can throw it, yay or nay. A place where people can sign up and put a name, a nickname, an email address, or whatever, and a location, if you will, say San Diego, California, and that way people can find other people in their local area to basically set up, if you will, local chapters or set up mags or anything of the sort like that. Those are thoughts I had.
I think it would be really nice to be able to know just how many people are supporting us somehow. I don't know how to go about that, but.
Well, that's part of what I said, or part of my thought in people signing up like that, because then, Joe's Bakery in, Boise, Idaho can sign up and they support us. And that way, when we go to some of these bigger media outlets or whatever, try to get some of these bigger names involved, let's just use Marfugel, for example, and we go over to Adam and say, hey, Adam, we'd like to get you on board. Look, we already have 88,000 people that are following this. This is why I think you might want to get involved.
Yeah.
Is there a way on their website we'd be able to have like a live chat, like Prepper Nerds has that? It's like a live chat. You can go in there and kind of talk with people from your
Maybe
area.
like a discussion forum. What do you guys think about that?
Discussion forum sounds good.
I think it's fabulous.
I do too. Mike, Prepper Nerd, can we do something like that?
Yeah, I'm sure it's all possible. There's definitely a forum. That's pre-established technology. Obviously, the live chat. I'll just have to look into the best way to implement that.
Okay, so we can at least do a forum and possibly a live chat, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I think we have to just think through the logistics of the live chat, but I'll start doing some research on the technology that would be required.
Okay. The only question I have for the whole group here, if we do a live chat, we're not going to be able to have moderators. And because I mean, if the live chat's open 24/7, you're not going to be able to have moderators in there. And the last thing we want to have is a whole bunch of trolls coming in there and just beating the hell out of everybody.
Well, just have it admin control. So, like, if you were running the website, you would do the live on there, so it's controlled, and then all the like collective ideas go through one channel instead of a whole bunch of mouths.
Mike, does that make sense to you? Why I'm talking about this? You need to be running this part of this, not me.
Well, that's fine. I mean, we're just trying to identify what the ideas are, what requirements are, essentially. Forum moderation. I mean, any of us could be potentially moderators of the forum, or potentially people of the community that want to contribute to our efforts. So we can have one or more moderators of a forum that may have any number of threads or groups that are being discussed. So I think it's just a matter of how we want to manage the content that's being created there. I think that there's in terms of forum technology, that there's like whitelisting certain users, so that their comments can go straight through, or there might be some sort of like initial period where someone signs up and all of their comments need to go through moderation before anything gets posted. So there's different protections in place. I mean, that type of technology has been around for 20 years or more, so I'm sure it's pretty robust in terms of what I'd be able to implement. And by the way, I'll be using WordPress to develop the site. So WordPress is used in millions of websites around the world. The most used website platform, and it's extremely extensible. So there's like plugins that are developed by developers that's all they do is develop. For example, like a forum plugin for WordPress website. So I'll be looking at what plugins and other technologies are already available for us to leverage, and most of them are open source or free, and some of them do cost some money to implement, especially if you want like a premium version of their plugin. But like I said, I just need to understand what the requirements are, or what you guys want to have on the site, so I can start doing some research. So what I have so far in terms of requirements, and I think what would also be really helpful is as we talk about the website, it's basically, in my mind, it's going to be an iterative development process. So what that means is we need to decide, what is critical for day one, so we can launch something that would be of value to the community and start to collect, signups of the people that want to get involved in the community. And then there might be future phases. So what I really need to understand, whether that's in this call or soon after, is which of the requirements that we identify are critical for version 1, and which ones are maybe version 2, version 3, and so on. So so far what I have identified as requirements include that we want to put a mission statement on the homepage. We want a list of influencers, that would be all of you, and potentially more YouTube content creators. We would also want that on the homepage so that the community knows, who is in support of what we're doing. And this is based on conversation I've had with Pinball. So I guess this is all up for discussion and agreement. But that's what I have so far. And then a way for them to sign up, obviously, on the homepage, something that's prominent that they can't miss if they come to the website. It's right there in front of them. And they would ask for their name, or they could use an alias, like, for example, their YouTube channel name or something like that. It would ask for their email, but it would be optional in case they want to receive, communication from us about, new announcements or events coming up or whatever. And then city and state, which would be optional as well, just in case there are events, coming in their area, we can let people know. Obviously, what I think I just heard was we want to be able to show a list of those supporters, anybody who's signed up to be a member of the movement. and that would be a dedicated page. And then we want an ability to donate to the organization, and that would be basically a link or a button in the header menu, so that it's always present in case people want to support us in that way. And then, like we just talked about here, live chat feature potentially, and a forum feature.
Mike, I don't know if you have seen vPrepared or vrsyndicate.com website that we created, but it sounds pretty similar to what you're trying to do. So if you want to take a look at how I've got that set up and grab any ideas you might off of that, I would have, be more than happy to help you out with that.
Yeah, that's awesome. What is the URL?
It's vrsyndicate.com.
Yeah, THER Syndicate.
Is there a reason Von Wiley keeps booting me off?
Yeah,
I'm trying to figure out how this whole thing works. I'm just kind of going around and checking stuff out while you guys are chit chatting.
Okay, I just wanted to try to do
Yeah, no offense, bro.
All right. Okay, guys, I want to bring something up because Mike mentioned it just before I got kicked off there for a second. We can't put a donate, contribute, or anything like that on there. Okay, here's the reason why. If we do that, then we've got to register as a 501c3 as a charitable organization. Then we need, that costs money. Then we need lawyers and accountants. If we start taking money, then we have to account for it somehow. So we can take money through our regular YouTube pages and we can pay for it out of that because that's all taxable to us individually. But if we do it through freedomgathering.org, then we've got to register as an entity, and then of course that means we need lawyers and accountants.
So, just a quick question: the platform you're using, it's not like a Discord or anything like that.
No, it's a website development platform. It's called WordPress.
Okay, the only reason I ask is because in the stuff that I've done with Marfugal and whatnot, they had a Discord for a long time that was doing, I think, pretty much what you guys were wanting to, as far as it had chat rooms in there. Of course, it was broken down into states, so it assigned people to the states they wanted to be associated with, so that they could build groups, and they were actually meeting in person in their areas and so forth like that. It allowed them a way to communicate. There was also live chats in there. And it was actually working really well. There was probably tens of thousands of people in it. But here recently, he got Discord just booted him off. Their claim was because we had a section in there that was specifically for our veterans, where they could talk privately between themselves and, kind of help each other out, that kind of thing. That's how it was meant. They claim that, of course, that them, and not only that, but some of the other groups, the website was being used to organize militias and so forth. And that wasn't the case at all. But as we know, they don't care what the truth is. They just went ahead and did that. So right now, him and Dex are working on building kind of what you guys are looking at, their own page that they own, that they control, so nobody can boot them off. And I was just wanting to make sure that that's the way you go. You don't want to have somebody else in control of just saying, well, we don't like what you're talking about, and pull you.
Right.
Now, after this meeting, of course, I can talk with Dex, because they're at the ground floor. They just started doing it. And I can pick his brain for how they're set up that might help us in what we're doing. And then I can just give that to Pinball or share it, with him or you guys, and you guys can look at how they're designing it, help us get off the ground. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that'd be great to see how they're designing their site. We could potentially collaborate in some way.
Right.
Us learning from them learning from us. But yeah, this is it would be a completely independent website, not dependent on any social media platform, unless we chose to integrate one in some way. Like, I know that there's commenting systems that are, like Discuss, if you've heard of Discuss. But my plan would be to own all of our data, to host all of our own data. So essentially, I mean, the only way that we'd be vulnerable, I guess, in some way is from the host. But, there's really no way to get around that if you want to have an online presence. What I mean by host is the hosting company, right? Who's actually serving our web pages.
Right, and I'll ask them too, and who they're using, because whoever it is, there was so much work that was put into that Discord when it was pulled. It was massive.
Yeah.
And we want to avoid that, so I'll find out who it is they're using as well, because whoever it is, I know Dex is researched it and is confident that won't ever happen again. So
yeah, that'd be great. That'd be great to know.
Is there any way we can add a page on there that talks about upcoming federal and state laws that are going to be infringing on freedoms? Just ones that are proposed, not ones that are already in the book. You could have ones that are already in the books, but I'm saying like ones that are coming up. Like there's been a lot of HR and Senate ones for Second Amendment as an example that people could be aware of. Because if we're talking about gathering people and then having people be aware of freedoms that are being taken, it would help them if they can sit there and say, oh, this is being infringed on the federal level, and we can call this person to complain about it.
I mean, the answer is yes. I guess the question is whether that's something the whole group wants to focus on.
That's basically what I'm asking.
I think another good idea going along with that would be adding different areas that are having new mandates or lockdowns, and different laws on their lockdowns.
100%.
I've got an idea too. Sorry I'm late. Something we call, or I was thinking about like affiliates, with all of the possibility of a passport for those that refuse to get the vaccine. Knowing places where you can go and get food, you can go and get freedom seeds and stuff like that. A place where you kind of could disseminate knowledge of people that will help people out that are not going along with the whole medical passport.
That's an incredible idea.
Yeah.
Because that's the way they're going to do it. They're not going to say, "Oh, we're taking away your freedoms." They're going to say, "Well, yeah, you get the freedoms, but you can't buy food."
Okay, I've got it down.
One thing I know we want to put on there, Mike, is a page where we have a printable flyer that like the one you and I were working on today. Obviously, that was a rough draft, where people can go, print it out and distribute it. Put it on windshields, pass it out in their church. Stores can put it in the window, put it on the gas station, whatever. Want to put that on there, and then also have a form letter that people can cut and paste and put in an email that they can send to senators, representatives, state senators, state representatives, school boards, mayors, governors, city councils, whatever would be. So we've got something in there that people can, if you will, inundate the politicians with email that way.
Yep, got it.
How about a petition? Set up some kind of a petition forum.
We'd have to do that in an issue by issue type thing, like we're doing a petition of. We would give me an example with what you'd want to put there.
Anti-vax just throw it right out there. So basically, we could have an issue by issue basis depending on what the topic of the week or whatever the biggest thing going on. We could just set up a petition. We could have a link on the primary page, and a way to get the communities more involved. Basically, how to get the subscribers more involved in this.
The only thing I think on a petition is we've got to be able to have on an issue that we're petitioning on, and then a particular organization or person that we're sending it to. If you petition the White House, obviously that's where it's going. You're petitioning the governor of Oregon, it's got to go there.
Yep.
And if we're petitioning the state of Oregon could care less if my signature's on there.
True.
Yeah, true. Guess it would have to be a federal basis petition type system, then something that would affect everyone nationally.
Yeah, I mean, if there was something on, I can't even think of what the big petition site is that you get emails on every once in a while. There's something there that we supported. Yeah, maybe we could put a link to something like that. I could see doing that.
Okay.
I also would like to do something to help people to be able to feel comfortable talking to other people. Like we have discussed T-shirts and things like that before, like the I Will Not Comply T-shirts. What would they say to a person if somebody comes up and says, what is that? Some people have a hard time talking to other people about things like that.
True.
Hey guys, if I can just add this real quick, I know that gun laws are different per state. If there's any way, it would take some doing, but if there's any way we can set up maybe a web page or something like that where folks can go if they're not sure what the gun laws are there, so they can follow the Second Amendment and everything, and not, you know what I mean? A lot of times governors and the threats are constitutionally illegal.
Yeah, I can see that.
Links. I think that there's already web pages set up for stuff like that, so that most of those would be hot links.
Okay. Yeah.
Our policy coalition, POA, etc. have all the links for all that. USCCA as well as another one. They have all the hot links for all this stuff.
Pepper Nurse One and Bear Independent both have really good discussion forums. I think a lot of that could be covered like that. And also another thing to consider is what Mike Glover had to do, where he had to go to the Dave Rubin of the Rubin Report. He's got a new site called Locals, and there might be a way to kind of affiliate things to that as well. Because he's all about freedom. He's not going to take anything down like a Discord would. To circle back to Rip Curl.
Going off what John said, if you're going to sit there and associate yourself with like the USCCA, you could contact them and see if they wouldn't mind you linking their website to it, being associated with them. It'd give us more reach also. And it would serve the same purpose as kind of what you're talking about, where people would be able to go there and find the laws.
Yeah, while we're talking about hot links, it would be good to have a section where people can, and either you can hot link it, because I'm sure there's probably something like this, or you could cut and paste it into the page where people can go to find the officials in their state, meaning like your governors, your representatives and all that really quickly. So when there is an issue, they could click on it, find the people's phone numbers, emails, addresses, and all that kind of stuff for when we're doing, say, a proactive thing where we're pushing back in a nonviolent way, of course, but pushing back to, say, explode their phones, and or even make it easy to organize, like what's happening right now in Oregon. There was just a gym owner who got fined $90,000 for not. He stayed open, didn't follow the mandate, and said, you know what, this is a free country. I'm going to keep my place open. I need to feed my employees, and I have senior citizens that need their therapy, etc. That the OSHA came by and fined him $90,000, and today there was probably just under 1,000 people when it was all said and done, maybe, and it was put on by Prayer Patriots
where they sat out in front of they had everybody meet in front of the home of the OSHA official to make sure that he knew he wasn't doing the right thing and should have stood up, just like other sheriffs that said, we won't enforce these policies or these fines at least. And it was actually a pretty good thing. So, you know, people could then, you know, find those events or find those addresses or those phone numbers, because I got the phone numbers and everything from that event. I plan on leaving a message on all the numbers and the emails, and I'm going to be doing a video asking whoever watches to do the same, so that we get the point across that they do have a choice to say, you know what, I'm not going to follow that mandate or edict that you've proposed. I'm not going to get violent about it, but I'm sure going to let you know about it. And maybe some of these people will start making a different choice. I mean, that OSHA official could have very well said, I'm not going to find that person. Sorry. And that would start, maybe if that happened more often, the governor would basically be powerless. So just a thought, if you had that kind of hot link or page to get that information, I think that would be really helpful.
It'd be good to add to the page just a whole bunch of success stories of peaceful wins, as it were. Just so when people sit there and look at it and they see other people are doing the same thing, there's strength in numbers, instead of thinking that it's just another organization that's not going to accomplish something.
Yeah, and that actually brings up a question for me I was thinking about, and it has to do with whether we want to be able to publish articles or basically blog posts on this website. So when you say success stories of peaceful wins, that to me is a form of a blog post.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if there's interest in other types of blog posts that you guys would want to be able to publish.
You could do features. I mean, if we're doing wins and things like that, I mean, I don't know a lot about politics and things like that. When it gets into that, and there's a lot of you guys that have a lot of insight on things that go on in that nature. So if you guys did like features.
Yeah, the one thing, TJ and I were talking about this the other day. I thought, you know, when you're talking about success stories, you know, let's say we've got a subscriber who all of a sudden is having a whole lot of success, you know, getting people to the website, or, you know, putting up flyers or whatever it is, you know, gaining momentum. You know, we want to do something, you know, to write their success story, what they did or whatever, how they're having the success, so other people could see that, maybe follow that lead and do the same thing, and maybe, you know, success will beget success.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could have a current events section which tells you the news that's out there. I mean, aside from, of course, we're going to have a section that, say, a creator's corner, where it lists all the creators that are involved in this, where people can go and find their pages, subscribe, support them, and see the video on these events as well. But also in there could be a story section that, you know, you have your current events so people are aware of them, and then you have another little section that says the battle, say, and it goes over all of those pushback events and all of those success stories and things like that, where people can say, look, here are the issues, and look, here's what we're doing about it, and see that this is an active thing and want to be part of it. Just a thought.
Mike, let me ask you, Prepper Nerd, let me ask you real quick. We're throwing a whole bunch of ideas out there, and I know you mentioned like phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4, however we go.
Yeah.
I mean, are we putting way too much in here or whatever it is that, I mean, because obviously to manage this, you know, is, you know, your time. And I mean, obviously you got to do your real job and everything like that. You know, this isn't a 24/7 type thing for you. I mean, what's realistic of what we're talking about, and what is just, you know, considering your time, what's going to be just over the top and maybe we can't consider.
Well, yeah, like I said, thank you, Pinball. Like I said at the beginning, I mean, we just got to identify what is the, you know, what we call in project management minimum viable product. the minimum requirements that we can go live with that would provide value to the community. So obviously, but all of this is possible. It just takes time and money, right? Some of it may cost money because we need to buy certain plugins or technologies that we need to use to integrate into the website. So what I looked at this as was a brainstorming session, and that's great. I didn't look at it as we need all of this and we need it now. If we want something in the next couple of weeks, we need to pick, 20% of this and go live with something, and then build from there. And these are all great ideas that what I can do is I could assess how much time each of these features might take, individually, because some of these things are going to be harder to do than others. So, and some of these things may be, inherent within the technology that I'll be using, out of the box. So maybe very easy and quick to implement. And some of them might be much more involved. So, I was just typing down, all of the ideas, and then I was going to actually review them and ask the group, okay, which of these would you consider to be critical? Like, as in, we cannot go live with the website if we don't have this feature. And then, like I said, right, we can iterate from there. So iterations could be, every couple of weeks we're releasing some new part of the site. Now, if that was not acceptable by the group and we wanted some sort of big bang of all of this or the majority of this all at once, then yeah, we're talking a good month or more, maybe a couple of months to put this all in place. I mean, just to give myself, just to not overcommit and underdeliver. Right. I want to make sure that I'm fair to all of you about what's realistic, because I'm not sure exactly on some of how some of this will be implemented. So for me to just tell you I can get all this done in a couple of weeks, it would be unfair to you guys and the community.
The reason I ask is because obviously I'm thinking we probably want to get at least something up as quick as possible, because at least I can say for my subs that are saying in comments to me and emails I'm getting, what can we do? I'm here to help. Tell me what to do. Tell me what to do. And, if we can at least get the basics out to them, of if we had the website set up, the commission statement, which obviously has to be there. I'm thinking the contributors corner, as you guys called it. And at a minimum, I'm thinking form letter and flyer that would have to be up there, just so they had something to start with, so they could start feeling part of it. Hey, I can cut and paste this. I can send it to every politician that I know, or whatever would be. Or, gee, I've got 2 hours this afternoon. I think I'm going to go out to the Walmart parking lot and paper windshields. I mean, how long do you think it would take just to put those minimal things up, where it's just a printable page or a cut and paste page?
So to get a site up and running with a home page with the mission statement, the list of influencers, a way to sign up, and then a page for printable flyers, form letters, etc. Was there anything that I missed based on what you just said?
No, I think that was it.
Yeah, I mean, we're probably talking a week.
Okay.
Feel confident about that.
I mean, anybody else have anything that you think really needs to be there on, to get us moving fast? Because if we don't, my thought is if we don't move quickly with what the subs are saying and stuff, and obviously every day that goes by is just that one day closer to, the stick in the arm. We need to get something going as quick as possible. Anybody else thinking of anything that we need to get out ASAP?
An email mailing list, going back to how we get our subscribers involved in this. And for example, every single online store that you go to, you have that annoying pop-up to sign up for their email mailing list. So if we had email contacts for a lot of subscribers, we can start sending out email newsletters and things like that, and just put together information packets for people and send it off to mass amounts of emails using one of the email plug-in type programs, MailChimp, for example. And I think that would be a primary thing to start with, so that we can, inform people and get people more involved.
Yeah, Grim, that's actually part of what I was considering when I described what would be phase one. That's part of the functionality for people to be able to sign up, where the email would be optional and the city and state would be optional. So, yeah, I agree. The email list is really important and valuable because that's a different type of community member, right? It's a much higher level of commitment for someone to sign up for an email list than it is to like press the subscribe button on a YouTube channel. So those are your much higher engaged, audience or members, so to speak. So yeah, for those that want to stay in the loop, and as we collect email addresses, we decided at one point, we want to start sending these new newsletter emails, then we're able to do that.
Not to add more to it, but you guys want to add a call to action spot on there too? Like you talk about pinball and you're saying that they want to know what they can do, they want to know what they can do, all the followers and everything. If you had a call to action, it's pretty easy for them to go on there and see that what we're wanting them to do currently is spread the word on this or gather for this or whatever it is.
Couldn't we just make that like a tab on the homepage, your call to action tab, and on that has the printed the flyer, if you will, the handbill, and the form letter? I mean, is that what you're kind of talking about?
I mean, that would almost be the same thing. If the call to action is getting the flyer out there, then that could be it. But having that verbiage there when you're having followers and things like that asking what they can do, I mean, the call to action is what they can do. They can go to that. They can print off a flyer and go, yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I like that as a terminology to use. Yeah, because as soon as they go to the website, it's like call to action, and poof, here pops up this and this and this, and they can click on each one of those pages or whatever from the tab, and it's like, oh, okay, you can go do this with this. Yeah, I like that idea.
Yeah, I like that a lot too. So, give me a sense of how many printable flyers or form letters we're talking about. Like, how many calls to action do we expect in this section?
Literally, I want, and again, disagree with me if you might, I'd want to have one flyer, okay, that somebody in San Francisco can print, somebody in Boston can print, and I don't care where you go in the country, you'd see the same flyer. Because if we have 52 different flyers out there, then we look like we're a whole bunch of little mishmash groups all over the place. If we had one, then I don't care if you're a truck driver and you saw it in Topeka, Kansas, and then you drove to Seattle and you saw the same flyer, you're like, holy crap, this group's national.
Okay, so one printable flyer. We also talked about form letters. Is that part of what you're saying would be phase one? Needs to be phase one?
I think so, and I mean, I can have those put together in a couple of days for you. That's no big deal.
How many of those are we talking about?
I can't. A couple, 2, maybe 3.
Okay.
Because I mean, it's just a matter of changing it from, dear Senator, dear Congressman, to dear Mr. Mayor, to dear Mrs. Governor. The only one that I can think of that would be any different would maybe be to a school board, because they're not really as political, if you will, as any of the other. The political ones are pretty straightforward.
Yep.
Anybody mind if I chime in here for a second?
Go for it.
I get what you guys are saying. I've been listening for the last 15 minutes. I hear you, and I understand what you're saying. A lot of you guys that are on here right now, I got huge man crushes on. Angry Prepper, of course. Kaz is here at the Fourth Dimension. Uman's here. But, and this is strictly my opinion, so forgive me if I ruffle your feathers a little bit, but I'm going to say what I'm going to say. We all know there's groups out there on the left that when they speak their mind, they make it well known. I mean, these people are burning down buildings. They're killing people. They're destroying property. I think the only way to combat something so evil is with something equally as powerful. And what you guys are talking about is great. It's the soft version of what we should be doing. And that's something we should be doing in a world that's legitimate, that's lawful, that has the rule of law. Unfortunately, now is not the time we're living in. We're living in a time that lawlessness is condoned by governors of certain cities. Even the state that I'm in California, unfortunately, we see this. That's condoned. That's what's getting the attention. In my opinion, something equally as strong needs to be represented. You guys are talking about emails and flyers and all this stuff, and that's great if you want to start a successful car wash. We're trying to keep this country from being destroyed. I think we need to have more action. You know, the call to action tab is great, but you know, we gotta not only talk about what our enemies are doing, but learning from their successes. They're spot on. They're yelling loud. They're saying what they want to be done. I think we need to do the same. We need to get out there, just like these people are doing, protesting in front of blue state governors' homes. That's what really works. That's what they hear. The only call to action to try to stem what they're doing is equal and opposite reaction, right? Some famous scientist guy made that one up. Remember? You know, I say be strong, be tough. Say, hey, you know what? This is a unlawful law they just passed. This is what we need to do right now. Everybody, let's get together over here and kick it in the ass. I'm not one to beat around the bush, guys, and I hope I'm not deflating your balloon here. But dude, we are on the precipice of losing this country. If we don't stand up and fight back, it's gone. And I understand what you guys are saying. You're trying to do things the lawful way. In my opinion, guys, and I know you can kick me off here if you want, I think we're past that. We need to fight or it's gone.
I will not comply.
I don't want to cut you off or anything like that if you're still going, but I get what you're saying, but we don't have the numbers. What we're trying to do right now is like the name says, we're gathering. So if we don't actually get a message
I hear what
out
you're
there.
saying, but I know all the people that are on here, and I know just off the top of my head, seeing the channels that are represented here, we've got hundreds of thousands of followers.
Yeah.
Me, not so much. I got 1,000, but we got so many people that have tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of followers. You cannot tell me we won't make a dent. You can't tell me that.
Dox them online.
I think within a week
what I would do.
we'll have millions.
Yeah.
I think if we stand up now, guys, now's the fuck. If we don't do it now, when? This is the time that the founding fathers talked about right now. Not fucking passing out flyers. Excuse my language. I'm sorry, ma'am. I know there's a lady on here. I apologize. Not passing out flyers. We need to get in their doorsteps. We need to do what Maxine Water told her people to do. Get in their faces. Tell them, no, we're not taking this shit anymore. That's just my opinion, guys. I hope I didn't piss anybody off, but you know what? Softball is over. This is hardball. This is MMA style. We need to get out there and we need to fix this.
Hey, you're preaching to the choir over here, man.
Yeah, I was going to say, most of us are going to agree with you there. I mean, one of the things that I was going to say was, you know, knocking on doors and go meet somebody right in their doorway and say, hey, where do you stand on this? This is what we stand for. Now, how many people do we have that are going to do that and have the capacity, you know, the social skills to do it, the A-type personality to go knock on doors? It's not difficult for multitudes of people to direct people to their website, but that was why I wanted to have the content creators on there, because if somebody does come and then they go click on one of our websites and any one of us listen to one of us talk, you know, you're going to light a fire under somebody.
I agree, Pinball. I hear what you're saying, man. I totally agree. And then again, in a perfect world, that would work perfectly. But right now, there's people out there, citizens. There's just normal Joes out there, mom and pops. They're losing their businesses. They can't go to work. They're losing their homes. These people are pissed, and all they're looking for is guidance. They need one solid gathering, if you want to call it that, to point them the way. Just like these people did in New York when the cops came, when they were having a business meeting, and they told them to get out. You don't have a warrant, get out. That's what we need. The only thing these people understand is equal retaliation. And I'm not talking anything about violence. I'm talking about standing up, manning up, get your balls out of your wife's purse, and make this happen. That's what we're lacking here, guys. That's what we're lacking. As soon as we all stand up, all this goes away. All this goes away as soon as we stand up.
One thing we do have to worry about, though, is if we do try to march or anything like that, they are going to attack us.
I'm not saying march, sister. I'm not saying march. I say if some purple-haired scumbag comes up with a lock trying to swing in my face, we take him down. And again, I'm not talking violence. I'm taking down in a literal way. Take them down. As soon as these people are taken down and they know they're not going to run us over, it's over.
They understand money. That's how you take them down.
You take them out and be done with it and move on.
I said the left, they understand money. That's how you take them down. That's how you hurt them.
Yeah, but the left are using the violent, radical Marxists.
They also, but the left still also has the media on their side, and they have the narrative on their side. If we try to do the exact same thing, the narrative is skewed. And I don't know what you guys think about the Proud Boys. I know a lot of them. I'm not part of them, but it's a huge international organization that is multicultural, and they are painted as terrible human beings, right? So if you start doing things that are, they're a huge organization that is already painted as some kind of supremacy group, which I know the American supremacy, but I'm saying they're already painted as a bad group, and they have done things like that. So if we don't get numbers first, and they have them, then we're not going to be able to do any dent in anything. There's no dent. Yeah, we'll have a nightly news story saying that we blocked a sheriff from a doorstep, taking somebody out of the home, and that's great. But then our story ends there. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know, man. From what I've seen, from what we've been doing in the last few years since Trump got elected, we've always been on the defense, always, and we're always losing every single time. Yeah, we get the accolades sometimes from non-mainstream media sources, but that's not enough. People aren't watching non-mainstream media sources; they're watching CNN. So we're automatically the bad guys no matter what. If we keep the moral high ground in whatever actions take place, make sure things are videotaped at all times, and just say, hey, CNN says this, but this is what really happened. And we just keep, getting on the defensive as far as the information going out. Things have to stop. The only thing these people know is aggressive assertion of one's will. And I don't want to say it because, I don't want to get this whole thing blocked out, but they're, in my opinion, might makes right. The only thing that's going to fix this is pushing back and showing them that we're not going to take it. The reason why Seattle was taken over, that Portland is taken over right now, is because we are allowing it. Period. End of story. If we stop allowing it, it will no longer be allowed. It will no longer happen. Back in the 70s and 80s when I grew up, if someone got out of line, you punch their teeth out and then you go have a beer with them. What happened to those days? I want those days back. Make it right. Make it right. That's all I'm saying. And you guys, you do what you're going to do. You make this website and you get your people and you pass out flyers. You do all this, but we're just going to be another cog in the wheel of bullshit that's not going to do anything. You got to stand up. You got to fight back. If not now, when?
Can I interject a little?
Absolutely not.
All right, I'll be quiet. I want to respond to Backcountry Von Wiley, but real quick, just a pinball on the page. I think you can put something in there, like when you make your flyer and whatnot, that says, join now, be a part, big things coming. That gets them, gets them, and say something like big things coming, stay tuned, so that way they know that we're working on more. And something like that. Now on the money thing, I know you can't take donations and whatnot because that gets into the 50 whatever. But you could do swag and things like that people could purchase to go and help fund some of this as well. Correct? That doesn't make it a nonprofit.
No, that still does, because as long as we make any sort of profit off of it, which of course we would, then we're a taxable entity. Okay, then we have to file a tax return. That's us saying if we do anything like that, as long as we do it through our own YouTube channels or whatever, you know, people give us super chats and live streams or PayPals or buy any of the swag off of your website, any of that income is taxable to you. What you do with the money then, if you decide, hey, I'm going to give Mike $20 so he can maintain the website this month or whatever, that's just money between two people.
Gotcha. Okay.
I think it would be a really good idea if, like, a couple of us once a month got together and done a live stream just to pay for the website.
That'd be a good idea.
Now,
I'm in for that.
I have two sides of me. I hear exactly what he's saying. It is frustrating. You know, I was there when that Per Patriot guy got gunned down. That wasn't cool. I know many people that knew him as well, very closely. We can't go to their level, but it doesn't mean we can't push back, if that makes sense. Right now we're at the beginning. I mean, you got to keep in mind these organizations, like I have people, again, just like Von Wiley. I know people in the Prayer Patriots. I know people in the Proud Boys, and even the 3 Percenters. The 3 Percenters backed out because of how how demonized they were made when they tried to stand up, especially up in Portland. That's why they've backed way off, because they got hit hard by the left. We have to expect that that's probably going to happen. Now, the thing about it is, we don't have to go, you know, quite to the violence level, but we do have to push back. I mean, he's right, and that's exactly what I was talking about the listing of names and standing in front of the people, like the OSHA guy's house, and if it's a sheriff's house or whatever. That's what they need to see the mass numbers in. And it doesn't have to be violent. Sure, if somebody is there trying to harm you, absolutely you have to defend yourself. That's a personal decision on your part, and you absolutely should do that. I wouldn't say anybody shouldn't. But we don't have to incite. That is the thing. We can show our pushback, and I think that's what we're trying to do. But we have to build a backing first, a numbers first, because those other bigger organizations have gotten to that point. Prayer Patriots managed to get quite a few people out there. I think that's what we want to do. We want to get that pressure out there everywhere with phone calls, as well as events where people can go to stand in front of somebody's door, that kind of thing. I don't think we need to go there vests on and guns ready until that time comes, but it's not that time yet. But we need to be prepared for that, because we are preppers. I can tell you this: in Portland, we did go up in the beginning to go against and those groups. And at first, it got pretty bad because they gave them the protection, and unless they committed a huge offense, I mean, basically really hurt somebody or murder, they didn't get jailed or anything. And that's what discouraged us. And we just finally wrote Portland off and said, look, if this is what you guys voted for and you want, and your people you voted for, and you're not going to come stand behind us, then burn your city down. I can tell you this: in Southern Oregon, that didn't happen. We got a turnout of those guys down here. We outnumbered them 2-1 at least, and they have never come back because we didn't get violent. We stood there. We said we respect your right to speak, but that's it. You go one step further from that and get any spray paint out or make any kind of damage, this will turn differently. And we were polite about it, and they did their thing, and they left, and they've never come back. They tried once, but when they saw us there again, because we were committed, they haven't been back. So that's, I think, what you guys are trying to do, is give people a contact so they can know where to go, what to do, how to ramp up the pressure, as well as start to gather as a group. Now, then when we get as a group, we can go bigger and bigger and bigger. You're right. And until the point comes where they're actually shooting at us, we just need to be ready for that, but not actually take that step yet. I think John's right too. Affecting it monetarily is a big way to do it, and about shopping at places that and supporting your local places. I know here at our local mag, the reason we don't have food issues and stuff like that is because we just went to the farmers and the butchers and said, look, can we just go with you direct? And they were like, absolutely. And we have a lot of nice organic farms and stuff like that. And these are things we can share with our people too. But I just think we need to be real careful with that, because that's how, I'm not against it. Of course we have to defend ourselves, but that's how you get yanked off of the air.
Yeah.
So just my thoughts. I mean, I see both sides. I get it. I'm frustrated too. But that's why I'm going to do a video that's basically he'll probably unplug his phone. I don't have that many followers, but I'm hoping that will happen.
Hey guys, if I can interject real quick, I think what we're trying to do here is eat the entire elephant in one night, and I think the first step we need to take is to get this website established and have a central rallying point where all of the subscribers can come together in one central location. And once we have that, then let's get that email list put together so that we have a way to get out to people, especially by region, because I know here in Illinois, it's there's guys putting together rallies and trying to get people together, and they've got a dozen people showing up. They've got 20 people showing up. We need to leverage everybody's subscriber base here and get them all involved so that instead of having 10 to 20 people showing up, we have hundreds of people showing up.
Right.
And that's the main purpose of this first step.
We're going to need a unified message in the morning, because we're going to have a lot of people on our channels asking, how the meeting went, what was talked about, and we kind of need to be unified on that.
Yeah, I mean, I absolutely agree with what was just said. We need to take the first step. Sure, we can't go, okay, we're going to try to get organizations. Right now, we need to get somewhere, as John just said too. Everybody can go, okay, this is what I'm getting ready to do. They're going to have a website up in a week or whatever where I can do this. And then they can start spreading the word. So then we can get to the point where, okay, if it's go stand in front of the governor's house, we're not having 10 people, we're having 400 people show up. Because we've collected that many people. I think TJ said, give us a week once this is going, we could be at 1 million people real fast. Okay, now we have 1 million people, nationwide, obviously. Okay, so not everybody's going to show up on Cuomo's doorstep. But anybody that's in, New York, maybe even Jersey or whatever could make the drive up there, and all of a sudden we do have a few hundred people standing up there. That we could do, but we got to get there first. We've got to have the first step. We've got to be able to take what we have and exponentially grow it. That's what I think the first step is. And we need some way to get our subscribers now engaged to go out and do that. Because right now they're all waiting, going, what do you want me to do? And we need to have something like John just said to go to them tomorrow morning and say, this is what's going on. This will be up by Wednesday, Thursday, whatever would be, and we can go from there. Even if it comes to a point where we just get the flyers put together, which I can have done by tomorrow, and I can email it to everybody. And if there's subscribers, say Prepper Now, for example, hey, can you send me that email real quick? Tap, 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 poof, it's out, and then they can go print out, a ream of paper right now at Walmart costs you, or on Amazon costs you $4.50. All right, there's 500 flyers. You can print off your home printer or whatever, take it to a Xerox machine and print out 500 flyers for $20. Okay, ink and everything like that included. But we've got to give them something to do fast, because they're chomping at the bit to do something, anything right now, and we've got to somehow get those people.
If I could parlay off of pinball real quick, the reason why the left has been so effective is because they are so organized. And I don't know who said it, but you're right. I think we're trying to eat the whole elephant all in one night. And the main thing is that we got to get the infrastructure of the website out, get the ideas, and then you're going to give a little bit of red meat to the subs. And then from there, it's going to start to grow. We have to be paced, we have to be organized, and we have to be effective in the messaging. And then what's going to happen is that's going to ripple out into all the subs into their worlds, and then it's going to really turn into something. And so, don't get worried about the immensity of the whole thing. As a person that studied political movements, it will take on a life of its own, especially if you harness the just the sheer energy of people in our sub count right now, because they are. I mean, I know I don't have to tell any of y'all about this. They're worried. They're concerned, and that's the reason why they're coming to us, is because they're looking for guidance to get prepared, but they're also looking for guidance to do something, because they know, like Mr. Backcountry said, the country is slowly but surely eroding in front of our eyes, and now it's time to get organized to hopefully put a peaceful stop to that.
I think the main goal in the next week here should be get that homepage set up, get those mission statements written and established, get an email list sign up button or page set up. And then, if you've got something in mind for flyers, pinball, maybe get those things up there, make them some PDFs or even editable PDFs if somebody needs to customize it for their specific area. But I mean, we need to take that step first if you want to get something done quickly and not worry about the rest this week.
Yep, that's spot on, perfect.
I don't want to throw anything else in the jinx or anything like that, but do we have an emblem, an icon or something that represents the group as a whole, or there's a name, but is there an image to put with the name?
Well, now that we have the name, I think we can kind of figure out something to, put some kind of a logo to it.
Yeah,
I have the I will not comply image.
Yeah, or we could just put something like FG over an eagle.
Yeah, you want branding. I think Josh brings up a really good idea, because then you got that thing going, and that's going to burn in their head, and then from there you can kind of build upon it. And I agree with you, Pinball. Something, less is more. Something kind of simple, but recognizable.
The hashtag is going around quite frequently in everyone's channel that I've been to of I will not comply. And I think it's already beat into people's heads. That's the goal, is to not to comply with the new infringements that are coming on our freedom, this vax that's coming, and all these things they're trying to push on us with these lockdowns, these masks, and these restrictions. So the general consensus of at least my subscribers is I will not comply.
That's a t-shirt that's sold by Collier Noir also. And says I will not comply. He's been pushing that really hard.
Yeah, but another thing we should do is contact those groups like him, the NRA. We should contact all the biker groups. We should contact all the VFWs. We should start sending these flyers out nationwide.
That's a couple of weeks down the road. That's once we've got the website up, or we got somebody. We can't go into a VFW and say, "Hi, it's me." Oh, well, let me. What do you have? I mean, you don't have a business card. You don't have, anything. It's like, well, I've got a T-shirt. We've got to have somewhere to legitimize when we go talk to them.
And when we're talking about the main logo design for the group here, we don't want to go with something like "I will not comply," because I think that kind of limits what people will understand as the focus of, our purpose.
Alienates people.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, Prepper Now put out a good video on that today about it. Almost sounds a little combative, and I have a tendency to agree with him. That's why we went with the Freedom Gathering when we were talking at the beginning. Because people are going to have. We may get plenty of people who are pro-vax on this, but they are staunch supporters of the Second Amendment, and so that's the freedom they're worried about losing. So we've got to take a broader view of what the people, the part that they may not 100% agree with this, but if they agree with this on 80%, they still may come in for both.
We want a big tent. We want it to be so, and that's kind of what my angle was, is that this is going against our classical libertarian civil rights. And so the I will not comply is definitely a portion of it. But as you just said, Pinball, there's so much more going on. And we want this to be a big tent, so everybody who feels like their freedoms are getting infringed upon will have a place to come and to discuss and to start to organize.
I think you guys brought up a huge point there. You know, one thing I've noticed in all of this that's going on is they don't really, say the left or people from another direction don't really see that, for instance, the flag that they had that said, you know, they didn't like our president-elect either. They want revenge. They don't want him. They want revenge. So, you know, those are the people, they don't realize that we have the same goals if we would just drop some of our differences. And I think that's important, not to alienate people. I think you're exactly right. They need to see that, look, we're for, because I'm a stark libertarian, we're for liberty. You have the right to do what you want. If you don't want to take a shot, don't. If you want to take a shot, go ahead. If you want to wear a mask, great. If you don't make me wear one, but you make your decisions. And I think that that's where we've gone wrong with all of this. And I think that that's how we don't alienate people. We're not saying that you need to not wear a mask and get with us. We're just saying you just don't infringe on my liberties to decide that I don't want to. And I'll respect your distance as a respectful person if you're worried about it. If I see you're wearing a mask, I'll give you some room. You know, that kind of thing. But you don't want to make it a mandatory thing, and that's what we're trying to fight against. We're trying to say, look, we have the freedoms, and we're going for freedom. So I would love to have, like you guys are saying, at some point a flyer and a name, and then you give me a PDF file. And like John, I think John's planning on doing a an 8 or 9 o'clock live now every morning.
9 o'clock.
Right, great, yeah, because I was going to one that I call a walk and talk, and I was going to come in after you, so I don't, at the same time kind of thing, and do that thing where it's about getting prepper fit as well with people, but my people will also be there with me in chat so we can talk about current events. And I'd love to have something like that where I can say, look, here's, report back to what's happening and say, this is what we met on. Here's a PDF. Why don't you guys go print all these out? Just when you go to the grocery store next time, put them on all the windows of the cars, that kind of thing, to get people interested, and they can understand that this is about freedom for all of us. Even if you want to get the vaccination, go for it, but don't make us wear masks and all that. So I think this is a good track right here that we're on, for getting something established, like Prepper Now said.
The fact that we've got a person that's going to create a website, the fact that we've got a group of influencers that have hundreds of thousands of people to talk to, these are all great first steps, and should be, the first week is critical. And if Mike does what I'm pretty darn sure I think he's going to be able to do just by hearing him, we're going to be able to get this going. And then I think it's going to take on a life of our own. And then from there, it's just growing the website infrastructure. And then you can do those things like the call to action, and do like a flash mob at a sheriff's house to let him know that if he does the new edict from Governor whoever, that there's going to be people showing up and saying they will not comply. So
one thing comes to mind when talking about all this is a big yellow flag that says, "Do not tread on me."
Yeah, but the only problem, I agree with you on that. The only problem with it is the Gadsden flag's kind of taken on a life, a meaning, a two-way meaning. And, and we don't want to, again, we're trying to cast a wide net here. We don't want everybody to think we're a two-way group or something. It's just that.
Well, to circle back to what Josh said, because he made a good point, it's branding. We need to make our own Gadsden flag. We need to make our own emblem and everything so people can get behind it, and then that will become, the new Sons of Liberty signage.
If you paint the generic group with a very broad brush, you can then even break it down into, say several sections. You could have one section with its own separate logo, which could be just a spin-off of the theme that concentrates on the anti-vax stuff. Maybe one that's concentrating on the pro-2A stuff, one on the freedom of speech stuff. You have the broad group and then people could get involved with the subjects that they are concerned or interested about underneath that.
I mean, and not to, again, pitch my own idea, but that's why I'm thinking something just simple. You take an old English FG, Freedom Gathering, superimpose that right over an eagle, which obviously stands for freedom and liberty. I mean, it's very simple at that point, and I think that's going to be relatively memorable.
Yeah, you could have a logo like "Don't Mandate Me."
I'd like to talk about John's idea of making a commercial if we could. I have very limited time here, so I got to run here in about 5 minutes or so, but I definitely want to discuss that before I got to go.
John, you want to run that idea?
Yeah, I was just softballing it out there. I thought, since we all have viewerships, and of course there's going to be some crossover, but if we all, took 10 seconds and recorded 1 or 2 lines, and then we put them all together, and we just all of us uploaded the video maybe once we have the logo and everything done and the website up and running. That way everybody sees the same universal video, and then it kind of directs them to the website we've set up.
That's
Where
awesome.
would we run that commercial to you?
Well, I mean, it's not necessarily a commercial. We already have viewers. We would just upload it to our Rumble, YouTube, etc., and link the website there.
And they would be able to share it on whatever platform they choose.
Okay, all right. I should, because when you're saying commercial, I'm thinking you were talking about like trying to run it on Fox News or something like that.
No, I mean, we could run it on social media. We could buy ad time on social media if it came to that. But then you're getting into how we're going to finance it and all that stuff.
Yeah, I think I see what you're saying. You could just post it as a second video, for the day or however many you do. And so there's just this quick 2-minute video or whatever. It's a commercial, and everybody's going to click on it anyway, and then put in the description, share this on all your social media, and poof, it spans all over the place.
Yeah, if we're giving them all the same message, like they see all the creators here in the video, and we're talking about the same thing, our freedom's being taken away and stuff like that. And then we point them into the direction of the website, that might lead a lot of people over there.
Yeah, the other thing that I think that might help too is increase all our viewership, because somebody who's on Rip's page may not be on my page or whatever, and that they're introduced to me, and all of a sudden they could hear what I have to say, or vice versa, or whatever too.
Right.
Take that commercial and make a QR code for it, and then print off just the QR code on a flyer and slap it around everywhere, because people are more likely to sit there and try to find that QR code.
That's a great idea.
And you're going to get so much traffic on that, whether it be good or bad, it's going to get out there.
Okay, you're going to have to help us do that.
You can literally just do a QR generator, and you would take the URL for that YouTube or whatever video that was made, commercials made.
Like I said, you're going to have to help us do that. Sorry, way beyond my knowledge.
Gotcha.
Mine too.
If you want to convey some unity between the channels and the various communities, the other thing we could do is come up with a little script, maybe the mission statement and another paragraph or two, and then everybody's assigned to record a certain sentence or a few lines out of that mission statement and paragraph, and consolidate that all into one video.
That's a good idea. Something like Prepper Nurse One and Alaska Prepper does at the end of their videos, something similar to that kind of format. They have the little mission statement they mention every time at the end of their videos. I don't know if anybody watches their videos, but at the end of each one of their videos, they say the same thing on every single video, and people will get that memorized. So it's a good idea.
And also that last thing that's being said, it would be great if it was in unison of all of us saying it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So what about the
PSA
elephant in the room?
that Hollywood does? Well, I think
the elephant room would be censorship and all of our channels being shut down as soon as we start doing this.
I think there's enough people. I think there's enough people that know we've all moved to Rumble, that it wouldn't take long for, if all of a sudden any of us disappeared, I think everybody'd find us on Rumble. But the other thing is, if I disappear, I can pretty much hope, but I can pretty much bet that every one of you guys would say when you get questions, what happened to Pinball, you'd be like, he got booted, go find him on Rumble.
Yep.
That's also the main
That's the
purpose
support
that
we all
we.
need.
That's also the main purpose we established the R Syndicate website. Was we publish everybody's channel names and then all the platforms that they're publishing on. So if one day you go to YouTube and your channel's gone, they can go look under Pinball and say, okay, he's on Patreon, he's on Rumble, he's on Library, or he's on BitChute.
Right.
We could do all this through Rumble and just put links and posts.
The only issue to that is none of us have. I mean, we all have about 10% of our subscribers from YouTube are on Rumble. So I mean, we just have so much more reach right now on YouTube to get the word out. Maybe then eventually we move it all to Rumble.
We do have a lot of people on YouTube that are going to want to know in the next couple of days what went down. We could, at that point, point them to Rumble, and that could actually build the base up over there quite a bit.
Yeah, if we plan on posting this video, we could only do it to Rumble, and that would definitely get a lot of people over there.
Yeah.
Well, gentlemen and TJ, I'm going to have to cut out. I got an early morning tomorrow. Appreciate all your time, and let's take that first step and just get that main web page set up so that we have something to give them that they can go to and take a look at, and then we'll have to figure out the next steps as it goes.
All right.
I read it out as well, and I agree. That's a great start.
Yep. Mike, if you want, Mike Prepper Nerd, if you want to give me a call tomorrow, it's 10:45 here. You and I can get together. I'll get the mission statement over to you and stuff like that, and we can kind of get the ball rolling as you got some free time.
Yeah, that sounds good. Just one question. And for the section that has the list of the content creators that are supporting this, I'm wondering what information you want to include, like name, picture, maybe a short blurb from each content creator and a link.
Sounds good.
I was thinking more just like a link to everybody's YouTube page. Let them go from there.
Yeah, maybe put the logo or caption picture for everybody's YouTube page that they already have uploaded, the name of the page, and then the link would probably be the easiest way to do that.
Yeah, I don't want to do names. I mean, like given names because
no, that's not
the
on
name of the page. Yeah.
So the channel name, the image from the channel, and a link.
Yeah.
And maybe an alternate link to their Rumble account, just in case.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. You know, whatever other platform they use. I mean, if somebody uses BitChute or whatever, not Rumble, put that on there. You know, I mean, whatever. If you can pull all of that from our syndicate right there anyway. That's easy enough.
Yeah, and if Prepper Nerd knows how to do it, like that you were talking about that UR code on the flyer that you're going to do that you want us to put around, if at the bottom, besides a link to their, or the address to their page or to the website, have a URL code.
Yeah, we'll have the QR code there on that too. So if somebody's walking by a store, they can just snap a picture with their phone and poof, they're there.
Right.
That works. Cool. Great meeting, guys. Grim, did you record this thing from the beginning?
Yeah, I've had it recording on Skype the whole time because it seemed like it was going to be the easiest way to do it. So I hope I got all of it.
Yeah,
I've got the whole thing.
Good, because when I got kicked out off the stream by Vaughn there, I think it was, that stopped my recording, and I saw Grim's recording. Grim, yours should go up in the chats, so in the chat room here shortly afterwards, so everybody should be able to download. Who else said they had the video?
I did. I got it. I've got it on a Streamlabs OBS, so I'd have to actually Dropbox it to you.
Okay, who is that?
Typing outside the box.
Okay, all right. Well, I'm on my phone, so I see.
I'm just messing around. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and hit stop on this recording then and see if it,
all right,
so everybody can snag it.